There are at least 8 Republican candidates in Nevada vying to challenge incumbent Democratic Governor Steve Sisolak in November. Among them, Las Vegas council member Michelle Fiore. She believes that all COVID mandates need to be banned, that teaching factual history in schools is a threat against our children, and that activists who oppose police brutality are domestic terrorists. You know, normal stuff for the Republican Party these days. Even more interesting was her first ad announcing her candidacy. Take a look.
I'm Michelle Fiore, and I'm running for governor. I spent my whole life fighting the establishment. I was the first female majority leader in the Nevada Assembly and one of the first electeds to endorse Donald J. Trump. And you better believe I was attacked for it.
Again, not too surprising to see a candidate tying herself to Trump. And of course, no Republican ad would be complete without the candidate brandishing a firearm. But it's where the ad was played that I find so compelling. Let's show it on the screen. Now, as you can see, her campaign purchased ads in the Nevada media market, which makes sense. But if you look all the way to the lower right there on the map, you can see another ad buy that, correct me if I have my geography confused, is nowhere near Nevada. In fact, it's more than 2,100 miles away in Florida. In fact, the Fiore campaign purchased 62 television spots on Fox News in West Palm Beach, hoping it catches the eye of her dear leader. It's just another example of the cult of personality continuing to play out over the twice-impeached retired golfer in Florida. Case in point, last night you had Senator and part-time Trump caddy Lindsey Graham, who miraculously manages to sit up without a spine, demanding that the Senate Minority Leader join him in kneeling to Trump.
He's the most consequential Republican since Ronald Reagan. It's his nomination if he wants it, and I think he'll get reelected in 2024. But here's the question. Can Senator McConnell effectively work with the leader of the Republican Party, Donald Trump? I'm not going to vote for anybody that can't have a working relationship with President Trump, because if you can't do that, you will fail.
Hard to believe that a year ago, Lindsey went onto the Senate floor after January 6th and said enough was enough, and to count him out when it came to Trump. And then we come to the man vying to be the next Speaker of the House, at least in name only, Kevin McCarthy, who is previewing his future subservient role, telling the January 6th committee he will not cooperate in their investigation.
There is nothing that I can provide the January 6th committee for legislation of them moving forward. There is nothing in that realm. It is pure politics of what they're playing.
Of course, there is plenty that he could provide the committee, but that would involve having a shred of integrity. The vice chair of the committee, Republican Liz Cheney, said last night, "I wish that he were a brave and honorable man. He's clearly trying to cover up what happened." Unfortunately, brave and honorable are not words that have been used to describe this Republican Party. And there are real consequences to them being, you know, the absolute worst. And we'll get
New evidence today of the one litmus test in the modern Republican Party. There has to be allegiance not to ideas, the Constitution, but to a person, in this case, Donald Trump. Senator Lindsey Graham, who has been all over the place over the years, is making clear that, well, basically, he has a threat against the person who technically outranks him in the party, Republican leader Mitch McConnell.
Elections are about the future. If you want to be a Republican leader in the House or the Senate, you have to have a working relationship with President Donald Trump. He's the most consequential Republican since Ronald Reagan. It's his nomination if he wants it, and I think he'll get reelected in 2024. Here's the question. Can Senator McConnell effectively work with the leader of the Republican Party, Donald Trump? I'm not going to vote for anybody that can't have a working relationship with President Trump.
This is sort of a politically cowardly bank shot. Graham has a vote for who's the Senate leader, but he says his vote is just determined on who the Senate leader supports in the future primary, which is usually up to, yes, wait for it, voters. So McConnell can't keep his own job, according to Graham, unless he backs Trump. It's a step down for Graham, who also had recently declared his independence from Donald Trump after the other big story of the day we've been covering. Remember how Graham sounded in those tense times right after the insurrectionists tried to overthrow the government for Trump.
All I can say is count me out. Enough is enough. It is over. Joe Biden. I've traveled the world with Joe. I hoped he lost. I prayed he would lose. He won. He's the legitimate president of the United States.
You won't hear Graham talking like that now. He's much closer to the big lie and the January 6th minimizers. But This runs far deeper, and people need to keep the facts in mind. Lindsey Graham is lying to you, and we know that based on the evidence from Lindsey Graham. This is how he talked about then-candidate Trump when it mattered, and it was the public choice of whether to make him the nominee or president in 2016.
We should have basically kicked him out of the party.
I think he's a kook. I think he's crazy. I think he's unfit for office.
I don't believe he's a Republican. His policies are really bad for the country. That he's a jackass.
You know how you make America great again? Tell Donald Trump to go to hell.
Trump's foreign policy is a complete disaster.
He's a race-baiting, xenophobic, religious bigot.
What more do you need to say?